Okay, for 10 o'clock.
We are good to start.
I'd like to call to order the December 12th, 2024 meeting of the South Carolina Public Charter School District. And I will lead with the invocation. If you would join me. Dear Lord, in this time of turmoil we see across the world, we have the most simple prayer today, and it is for peace, peace and goodwill toward men of every tribe and tongue and people and nation. Have mercy on us all. Guide us toward love and good tidings. And we ask this in the name of you, who govern all that is. Amen.
Amen.
And now we will go to the Pledge of Allegiance, and I have a flag. So I think I will lead with you've got a flag up there, okay? I'll lead this. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Can everyone hear?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Okay, I pledge allegiance, if everyone wants to join, I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. Okay.
And to the republic
To the republic for which it stands,
And
one
one
nation,
nation,
under
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 God,
God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now for the position and mission statement. Our position statement. The South Carolina Public Charter School District embraces its state-appointed role as the district authorizer of public charter schools statewide. And now to our mission statement. The South Carolina Public Charter School District authorizes, supports, and champions innovative K-12 public charter schools, ensuring quality educational opportunities for parents and academic excellence for students, so every South Carolina child can reach their highest potential. Thank you. And now we'll move to the roll call. Secretary Dexter.
Jonathan Butcher,
Here.
Stephen Gilchrist, Kip Miller,
Here.
Madam Chair,
Here.
Randy Page,
Here.
Dr. Teresa Pope,
here,
Dr. Billy Strickland.
Did he say he is here? I saw him.
I did not hear him. I saw him for a brief moment earlier, but I don't hear him.
Dr. Strickland is in attendance, but we don't have audio from him.
Okay. What about Mr. Strickland? I mean Gilchrist, I'm sorry.
Mr. Gilchrist is not in attendance.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Will Billy need to call in, or you will determine that if he needs to do that? So we can get his, hear his vote, give him that voice. Now we will move on to item 6, the consent agenda. We do need a motion and a second for the approval of this December 12th, 2024 meeting. Do we have such a motion?
So moved. It's Randy Page.
second,
Okay.
Teresa Pope.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second, and now we will call for the vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
You opposed? No, thank you. At this time, I want to ask, I do not believe we do, but do we have any public comments at this time?
Madam Chair, there aren't any public comments.
Thank you. We do have the option here for executive session if needed. Mr. Superintendent and Eric Norton, we have not perceived there is a need for that. Would you guide us on that?
Madam Chairman, there's no need for executive session today. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will move on to item number 10, the action item for which we are here today. This is I think a Christmas present to us all. And we will now take consideration of the 2024 audit report. And Nick, we look forward very much to hearing this report and all that you have done, and all through all these schools. You have gathered many to make one strong statement. And so we look very much forward to this from our Deputy Superintendent of Financial Services, Nick Michael.
Morning, Madam Chair and Board of Trustees. We will be presenting our fiscal year 2024 audited annual financial report for your review and approval. First, I would like to thank the financial services team for all the hard work that they put into making sure the district was in compliance with all state and federal regulations. We've contracted with the firm Malden and Jenkins to complete the required audit, and would like to thank Brian Nicholson and his team for their continued collaboration to ensure that the district has a clean and timely audit report. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Brian to provide more information.
Good morning, everybody. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Hear you
All
fine.
right. I'm going to share my screen. I've got a few slides I'd like to share with everybody. If you just give me one moment. It says someone else is
I
sharing.
think I've seen you on CNN. I'm just kidding.
No.
Yeah, must be somebody else. Okay, we're listening.
Brian,
All right.
we have your slides already loaded in the presentation.
Yeah, Josh,
Okay.
Josh, you can
Okay.
proceed with the slides.
I gotcha. Okay, so there was 2 typos, but I'll go over those here in a minute. All right, so my name is Brian Nicholson with Malden Jenkins. We were the third-party CPAs for the South Carolina Public Charter School District. And if you want to go to the next slide, we've got a kind of a brief agenda here. We'll go over the engagement team and the audit timeline, the results of the 2024 financial statements, some financial trends, and then at the end, if there's any comments or any questions, we can go over those as well. On the next slide, so just to reintroduce myself, my name is Brian Nicholson with Malden Jenkins. I was the engagement director for the district's June 30, 2024 audit, and Mr. Tim Lyons was the quality control reviewer. These next 2 slides really just kind of outline the timeline of the audit. So if you go to the next slide, the audit's really broken down into 3 segments. Segment 1 is our planning and interim procedures. Segment 2 is our year-end procedures, our final field work. That's really where we did the majority of the testing of the general ledger, the trial balance accounts. And you'll see here, segment 3 is really our kind of final procedures, our quality control review, and then the presentation of the audit results. So we performed our audit in accordance with generally accepted auditing standards and government auditing standards. We did issue an unmodified or a clean opinion on the district's June 30, 2024 financial statements. And what that means is that the financial statements present fairly in accordance with generally accepted accounting principles. There were no material weaknesses or significant deficiencies in internal control that had to be reported, and no instances of non-compliance reported. The next slide really focuses on the single audits. Every year, the district has to go a single audit or multiple single audits when you spend over $750,000 in federal expenditures, of which the district does every year and will continue to do so just based on the amount of funding that comes from the federal government. So this year, the district did qualify as a low risk. This was actually the 2nd year in a row that the district was a low risk auditee. And what that means is we have to test at least 20% of the schedule of expenditures of federal awards. In doing so, we looked at the special education cluster of $3.1 million and then Title I of $3.9 million. And I do want to point out, in order to be a low risk auditee, you have to have 2 consecutive years of no findings or no internal control related matters. So this is actually the 4th year that the district has had no findings, no significant deficiencies, or no material weaknesses. So I did want to point that out. That report, we did issue an unmodified, a clean opinion. Like I just mentioned, no material weaknesses and no significant deficiencies in internal control. The next couple of slides are really our required communications. I'm not going to hit all of these. We're required to present these either orally or in writing. And so this morning, I'm doing a little bit of both. The main thing I do want to point out is that the district was required to implement GASB Statement 100 for accounting changes and error corrections. Though the district did implement this new standard, it did not have a material effect because there was no material accounting changes and there was no error corrections. The next slide, I'd like to point out that we did receive full cooperation from district management and their staff. As Superintendent Neely said, Nick and their team, they do an excellent job, and they have continued to do so over the past few years in preparing for an audit, getting everything that we need so that we can, try to turn around the report in a timely manner. There's a lot that goes into it, so we do appreciate the district and their staff making it a priority so we could be here this morning. And also, there was no past adjustments made during the audit. And at the end of the audit, once we have finished our procedures, we have to get certain representations from management, and we have received those representations. On the next slide, the main thing I want to point out here is that auditor independence bullet point. The AICPA professional standards require that we be independent of all of our clients, and we have maintained that level of independence throughout the audit. This next slide really focuses on the general fund. You can see a 5-year look back here. You see a dip in 2022, but that is actually when the district transferred funds to the capital projects fund for the building that was acquired a few years ago. And as of June 30, 2024, the general fund has $2.5 million in fund balance at year end. And then there's that little typo over there to the right. That was corrected in my version. Apologize for that. But if you go to the next slide, this really talks about the new GASB pronouncement that was implemented this year, GASB State 100, which we've already discussed. And then the main one that's going to have an impact next year for the June 30, 2025 audit is GASB Statement 101 for compensated absences. And there's some additional information in there as well. Lastly, we do provide free quarterly CPE to all of our clients. Most of it is financial based. However, every now and then we do have meetings that are tailored more towards council members, school board members. So should anybody on this meeting ever want to be a part of that, you can just email Nick or myself. We'll gladly get you added to it. And with that, I'd like to again thank the district and their team. An audit's an invasive process. We ask for a lot of information, and not once did we have any items that were never turned over to us, or there are no disagreements throughout that process. They do a great job and have continued to do so. And like I said earlier, this was the 4th year in a row that the district has had no findings or material weaknesses in internal control. And with that, any comments, any questions?
Thank you so much. Board members, any specific comments, general comments? You are our Christmas present, I want you to know.
Like I said, this is, you go ahead.
I would just like to say how much appreciate the staff, Nick and the whole team for having once again an unmodified, clean opinion, no findings, no recommendations. That hasn't always been the case in years gone by, and it is always good to hear these words. And just want to say thank you so much.
Total concurrence.
Madam Chair, this is Stephen Gilchrist, and I apologize for being a couple of seconds late getting on the call today. But I too just want to echo our board members' perspective on just what a wonderful job Superintendent Neely and Nick and his team. These guys do a great job in managing our schools, our district, and its finances, but more specifically, keeping us with a level of integrity in South Carolina in this work. And so, being on the board, one of the newer members on the board, I just want to express my continued gratitude to our team for the work that they continue to do, to your leadership, Madam Chair, and to our board for their consistency in wanting to be wanting to be the best. And, we do a great job in doing that. So, again, thanks to the team for your outstanding work. And I wish everybody a happy holiday season.
Stephen, those were coach words. They were so strong. It's just wonderful. And with Kip, Kip and I have been there for close to the same amount of time, and the things that we have seen and the places that you have come to an achievement of this district with Chris, Eric, John Payne, the board, the amazing staff who are just on steroids and making things happen, from macro things to micro things. They have things covered. And we were talking about the other day about our facility. And I just love how literally grounded our facility is. People can walk right in off the street and come see what the vision of the South Carolina Public Charter School District is. And it's a joy to be in the service of children and their futures. So I concur with what Stephen is saying. And this type of, the level of integrity that we are showing with our finances and the accountability of those is a shining star, I think, really, for us all. And we greatly appreciate it. Are there any specific questions that anyone might have?
Madam Chair, as you know, the board has to vote to accept
Yes,
the audit report. So Nick has a motion.
yes, okay, yes.
Madam
We're glad to
Chair,
hear the motion.
I respectfully request acceptance of the presented 2024 annual financial report.
Yes. We do need a motion and a second to approve the 2024 audit report as presented. So
Motion to accept.
Recommendation.
good, thank you. We will now put the motion to any questions, discussions. I know we've already had some of those considerations. Any questions, discussions, considerations before we vote?
Question, that was Jonathan that made the motion, correct?
Randy
Think
should get
so.
credit too. He said it at the same time. So we'll
Well,
share.
one of us can second. So, we'll let Jonathan go first since Butcher comes before Page in the alphabet.
All right.
Any further discussions or questions? I think will be the smallest question you've ever heard, but on page 11, under A, reporting entity, the last line of the first paragraph says, the charter schools exclusively serve the school district, and the charter schools authorization remains under the jurisdiction of the school district board of trustees. But I didn't know. I found that a little different than I would have thought. The charter schools exclusively serve the school district. Now that might be a meaning for that paragraph, but I always think of it as the reverse. that we serve the schools. That's our job, to serve the schools. Is there any thought on that? So on page 11.
I think it's saying that they serve under us.
Yeah, maybe that is the word that they need to look. Yeah, just that would be just clarification. That really is my only question. That was my only question.
I think I can get with Nick next year. We can tweak that a little, make it a little more clear to the readers.
Yeah, so it's clear to the school and to us.
Madam
So
Chair,
any other discussion?
I think my comment on that is this is related to the requirement in the law, the Charter Act, as it pertains to the audits. That's what this is pertaining to. It's not pertaining to the operations or autonomy the school
Okay.
has in the other areas. This is all pertaining to the audit, which is a state requirement in the law.
See, so it starts at the school. They are serving us their realities with the integrity that they do have on that, is what you're saying.
The word serving is probably a little misleading. It's really they're accountable to us
Yes,
for their
Yeah.
audits.
yeah, okay. Any other questions, comments? I'll make one more comment. I think in my view, I'm gonna call for the rest of the year, I'm gonna call Nick Saint Nick because of the gift he's given. I think if it fits, own it. But you might get a little hat in the mail or something like that you could wear. So Saint Nick, I want to thank you and your staff and all the intensity that it took. And just like Kip was saying, we knew the years when it wasn't like that. And so we are very glad to be in the years of plenty,
Yeah.
as one might say. So, okay, well, we will now
Before the-
put the motion to a vote. All in favor to approve and celebrate the 2024 audit report for the South Carolina Public Charter School District. Please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Did we get everybody? All ayes.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Thank you. And is somebody speaking?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I'm just gonna make a comment.
Yes.
First of all, I want to thank Brian Nicholson and Malden and Jenkins for the great work they do as a third party, helping us through this process. This is not something that occurs in the past month. It's something that we work on with them throughout the entire year. But I ultimately really want to praise Nick and the entire finance team for all the work they do to ensure that there is great fidelity to the law and to the transparency that the taxpayers of this expect this district to uphold. And I think that's really the core of what this is all about. It's about this district, this board of trustees and this staff and people's being accountable to the taxpayers and the funds that we're given, both federal and state, for the benefit of putting all kids first. We did have 11 schools that were late submitting their audits, and we'll be having more discussions with those schools and with the board come January, because they do stand to always put us at risk when they're late and don't comply with their charter and with the law. It also puts a huge burden on Malden Jenkins and Nick's team when these audits come in late. And so I think it's important that we publicly state that, it's unacceptable that they turn these audits in late. They've all received corrective action letters this week, and we will be working with these schools to help rectify that situation so that they can continue to lessen the risk that we are exposed to when they're not timely and in compliance with state law and their charter with the public charter school district. All that being said, I want to thank all of those schools that turn theirs in on time and praise them for being transparent and timely in the submission of their audits. And what's really wonderful about this, the gift to the taxpayers and the children that we serve, is that we have money in the bank, we can sustain our operations, we have zero debt, and we have no findings. And I think that is what the state expects of us. That's the expectation we have for ourselves, and it's the expectation we will continue to have as we continue to serve children over the course of the next year.
So strongly said. And we have the most complex of any kind of reporting, I would say, in the educational system. It's like having a team where you've got, 39 players that are governing schools and are all having to get on the same page for the audit play and do it in the time frame of the game. And those things need to, you're really sharpening that pencil with them. And I know that the path ahead is going to even be easier because of that. So anyway, and I just want to tell you all, I know I speak for the board on this, that we cannot say how much we think of your individual expertise and then your team leadership. It's true. It's true what we're saying about you and all the things that you do, Emily, for strategic planning and thinking with Stan Davis and the guardrails on academic excellence. It's just a wonderful it's wonderful for all of us to be a part of this. It really is.
Madam
So-
Chairman, I think we'd be remiss if the staff didn't recognize you and Dr. Pope and Kip, who are the longest serving members of this board, because you all suffered through some very trying and difficult times.
We did.
You stood by and believed in the vision and the potential that this district had. And so I just want to commend you all for continuing to demonstrate great resilience and trust that this district staff and our partners with Malden and Jenkins, we're going to get this right. And we now have 4 years of a strong track record, thanks to the diligent work and support of you all. So I just wanted to make that point.
It's a
Absolutely.
privilege and a joy. Stephen.
Oh, nothing, Madam Chair. I was just agreeing with the superintendent. Absolutely.
Yeah. Really, it becomes a present to us all as board members. And really, Chris, the story of you coming here, as I always say, is so special, literally special.
It is.
And the history that you had here previously known in the state is just a very special story. And out of it, there's gonna have to be a Marsh school somewhere. Maybe in the low country. But anyway, I think we all, and the camaraderie that we as a board have is just a very, very beautiful thing too, as well. So anyway. Okay, with that, is there anything else before we make a motion to adjourn?
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Yes.
Mr. Superintendent, staff, does this become public, this report?
Yeah, it's already on our website now. It was just submitted during this meeting on our website. Nick is also with Malden Jenkins and with Brian will be submitting this as soon as this meeting adjourns to the Department of Education, so that we're in compliance with the law.
Thank you. I think that's good.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Yes, okay. Well, happiest of holidays to everyone. And I just enjoy our time together and for the purpose for which we meet. Okay, God bless.
Merry
God
Christmas.
bless everyone.
Yeah.
Happy
Merry
holidays.
Christmas.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.